Welcome guys, this is the story of two couples, quite amazing and worth staying through. It is a I love you and you love me of a thing. Let me tell you of Nneka and Chidi, whose hearts built a home in the bustling heart of Surulere. Their love was a steady flame, warm and reliable, until Nneka began to measure its heat against the dazzling, distant fireworks from Lekki. She let the glow from a small screen dim the sun in her own yard. This is a tale for every young couple, every family, every soul navigating this modern marketplace of illusions. Remember the wisdom of our ancestors: the grass always looks greener on the other side, until you have to mow it. Do not let your eyes, fixed on another's field, blind you to the ripe harvest in your own. Welcome to Echoes from the Baobab Tree, where the timeless spirit of Africa comes alive through the power of storytelling. If this wisdom resonates with you, help this story travel. Subscribe to our growth, like this tale, share it with your village, and add your voice to our growing community. Now, let's continue the story. Nneka Nwosu stood by the kitchen counter in their Surulere flat, stirring her tea absent-mindedly. The morning humidity was already clinging to the windows. She was a beautiful woman, not the kind that turned heads at a party on Victoria Island, but the kind people always remembered for her calm, steady presence. Her husband, Chidi, sat at the dining table. He had the gentle face of a man who rarely shouted, the sort of husband who moved through life quietly, as if not to disturb anyone's peace in the constant bustle of Lagos. "Good morning, Nwanyem," he said, reaching for his cup of tea and bread. Nneka only nodded. He watched her for a moment, sensing something was off. She had been quieter lately, distant. Her laughter, once a contagious sound that filled their small home, had become as rare as steady electricity. "You didn't sleep well again?" he asked, his voice laced with concern. "ADMMMA, Chidi." "I am fine," she said, but she wasn't. As Chidi left for work, navigating the early morning sounds of downfall buses and hawkers, she walked him to the door out of habit. He leaned in and kissed her forehead like he always did before saying, "I'll call you when I get to the office." The gate shut behind him, and silence filled the house, broken only by the distant hum of generators. Nneka walked to the living room, picking up her phone. The first thing she saw was her friend Chioma's post. A sparkling photo of a brand new Toyota Camry with a giant red ribbon on it, parked in what was clearly a Lekki estate. The caption read, "When love speaks, it surprises you. Thank you, my king. Anniversary gift. Blessed wife." Nneka's lips tightened. She zoomed in on the picture, her heart beating faster. A brand new car. Her thumb hovered over the screen. She read through the comments. "Godwin. You deserve it, sis. Emeka is the standard." Her eyes burned. She looked around her small but neat sitting room, the modest furniture from Ikeja Market, the Ankara curtains she had sewn herself, the TV that sometimes flickered during a Super Eagles match. Everything suddenly felt small. Insignificant. "Standard," she muttered. "So my own husband doesn't even reach ordinary standard." Her voice trembled, though there was no one to hear it. Later that day, as she went to the local market at Eponri to buy beans and tomatoes, she ran into an old family friend, Aunty Ngechi. "Nneka. Kidu. How is that good husband of yours?" Aunty Ngechi asked, balancing a basket of vegetables on her head. "I saw him last week at the bus stop, helping that old mama chike with her heavy bags. Such a good man. In this Lagos, where everyone is rushing, he still has time for humanity." "You are blessed, my dear." Nneka forced a smile. "Thank you, Auntie." "Yes, he is." But inside, a voice whispered, "But does good pay the bills? Does helping others buy a new car?" She returned home, Aunty Ngechi's praise feeling like a weight. She sat on the couch, phone still in her hand, scrolling deeper into Chioma's world. Every post was a dream: beach vacations at Takwi Bay, dinner dates on Victoria Island, hotel selfies from Eco Hotel. Chioma and her husband Emeka looked like the definition of happiness. But what Nneka didn't see were the silent fights behind those pictures. She didn't see the night Chioma cried herself to sleep. All she saw was what glittered. Nneka and Chioma had been close since their university days at Unilag. They had shared secrets, laughed through heartbreaks, and dreamed of the future together. When they both got married around the same time, it felt like destiny. But while Nneka and Chidi had a quiet, simple life in Surulere, Chioma and Emeka's marriage seemed like something out of a Nollywood movie. Chioma would always say, "Emeka knows how to treat a woman," and Nneka would smile politely, but deep down, a sharp ache would rise in her chest. She began noticing everything Chidi didn't do. He didn't buy her expensive osoke from a high-end designer. He didn't post her pictures online with long captions. He didn't surprise her with flowers or gifts. He was just consistent, predictable. That Sunday after service, the two couples met at a restaurant in Ikeja City Mall. "Oh, my people," Emeka said, standing to hug Chidi with a booming laugh. He was everything Chidi wasn't: loud, charming, and full of the kind of confidence that came with money. As they sat down, Emeka pulled out a small jewelry box and opened it dramatically. Inside was a gold bracelet. "Just a small token for my queen," he said, slipping it onto Chioma's wrist. Chioma giggled, showing it off. "Emeka, stop it. You spoil me." Nneka laughed, but her smile faltered when she looked at Chidi. He was smiling too but said nothing. Inside, she felt something twist. That night, while washing dishes, she couldn't hold it anymore. "Chidi," she said quietly. "Don't you ever feel like doing something special? You know, something romantic?" Chidi looked at her, confused. "What do you mean? I thought making sure you are comfortable and safe in this Lagos is romantic." She turned to him sharply. "Paying rent and fixing bulbs is not romance, Chidi. It is your responsibility." He looked wounded. "But I try, Nneka. I may not do big things, but I love you." "Love isn't enough," she shouted, louder than she intended. He froze. Nneka felt guilty, but the words were already out. That night, as she lay beside Chidi, she couldn't sleep. He had turned his back to her, pretending to be asleep. The distance between them felt heavier than ever. She picked up her phone again, opened Chioma's story, and there they were, dancing in their spacious living room, laughing, holding each other. Nneka's chest ached, and for the first time, she whispered to herself, "Maybe I married the wrong man." From that day, something changed. Nneka began comparing everything: her husband, her home, even the way Emeka spoke versus how Chidi did. She began dressing differently, her gele always perfectly tied, smiling wider whenever Emeka joked with her, pretending it was harmless. Chidi noticed the change but didn't know how to fight what he couldn't see. He started staying longer at work, not out of anger, but because the home that once brought him peace now made him feel like he wasn't enough. One evening, Nneka stood in front of the mirror dressed in a simple blue wrapper. She had just come back from work, but instead of resting, she sat scrolling through her phone, her expression stiff. Another post from Chioma. This time, it was a video. Emeka and Chioma were at a rooftop restaurant, surrounded by candlelight. The camera caught Emeka kneeling down with a bouquet of roses. "To my queen for making every day brighter." The comment section was wild. "Ark. This man is rare. God, please bless me with my own Emeka." Nneka's fingers trembled slightly. She replayed the clip 3 times before locking her phone and sighing heavily. Her chest felt tight. When Chidi walked in, smiling wearily, holding a small nylon bag of groceries from the momo put down the road, she didn't even glance at him. "Good evening, Nwani M," he said, dropping the bag on the kitchen counter. "I bought some things we needed. Oil, milk, and your favorite cabin biscuits." "Drop it there," she interrupted. He paused. Nneka, are we okay? She turned her head sharply, her eyes burning. Do I look okay, Chidi? Do I look happy to you? He blinked, confused. What happened? What happened? She repeated, her voice rising. Chidi, when last did you take me out? When last did you do something special for me? Look around this, face me, I face you, flat. It is the same thing every day. You wake up, you struggle for downfall to Yoba, you come back, eat, sleep. That is it. Chidi's face softened. I am sorry you feel that way, but I thought we were happy, Nneka. I may not have the money for big surprises, but I try to give you peace. Peace, she scoffed. Is peace enough? Do I wear peace on my wrist? Does peace buy me flowers or take me out for dinner? Look at Emeka. Look at how he treats Chioma. He makes her feel loved, cherished, appreciated. Meanwhile, I am here eating akara and beans every night. Her voice cracked. Chidi swallowed hard, pain written across his face. You are comparing us again, Nneka, he said quietly. You don't know what goes on in their marriage. Don't let social media deceive you. But she wasn't listening. Her anger had found a target, and it was him. Excuses, she spat. That is all you have, Chidi. Excuses. You are lazy with love. You don't even try. He turned away, breathing deeply. Nneka, please don't speak to me like that. You know I love you. But that wasn't enough for her that night. She stormed into the bedroom, slamming the door behind her. The sound echoed through the house, leaving Chidi standing alone in the kitchen, his groceries still untouched on the counter. It happened on a humid Saturday morning. Nneka had just finished mopping the sitting room when she heard the knock. Not a gentle knock, but a desperate, uneven pounding. She frowned, wiping her hands on her wrapper as she went to the door. When she opened it, she froze. There stood Chioma. Her eyes were red and swollen, her weave-on was slightly crooked, and her lip was busted. She looked nothing like the flawless woman from Instagram. Nneka, Chioma whispered, confused. What happened? Chioma didn't answer. She stepped forward and collapsed into Nneka's arms, shaking from head to toe. Nneka, Emeka, he beat me. He beat me for daring to challenge him. The words dropped like stones. Nneka's breath caught in her throat. She stiffened, unable to process it. Chioma covered her face. Her voice broke. Nneka, he's been seeing someone else. Some woman he met at a club in 6. She looked at Nneka with tired eyes. I was posting fake happiness, Nneka. Every picture, every post, it was all to cover the fights, the silence, the lies. I just wanted to look like I had everything under control. Nneka sat frozen. Images flashed through her mind, Chioma's anniversary pictures, her cheerful reels, her captions about a love that never fails. Those were the same posts that made Nneka question her own marriage. The truth stood before her, raw, bleeding, and real. Later that evening, after Chioma had gone, the silence in Nneka's house felt heavy. She sat alone in the dark, her thoughts spinning. She replayed every memory, the nights she nagged Chidi for not being like Emeka, the mornings she ignored his kind gestures. Every insult, every comparison, echoed in her mind. When Chidi came home, she pretended to be asleep. He moved quietly around the room. Then, in the soft light of the kerosene lamp, Nneka turned and watched him. She really watched him. The man she had called boring was carefully mending the strap on her favorite heel, the one she had said was too old-fashioned. The man she once mocked for being too calm was the same man who never raised his voice at her. The man she said wasn't romantic had been the one who stood by her through a miscarriage, the one who prayed for her when she stopped praying for herself. Her throat tightened with shame. She had been blind. She had spent months comparing her imperfect but faithful husband to another woman's fantasy. She had poisoned her own peace with envy. Chidi turned off the lights and lay beside her. Within minutes, he was asleep, but Nneka stayed awake, tears rolling down her cheeks. She whispered softly, "Chinik, Baiko Ngagara. I am sorry. I almost lost him." The next morning, Nneka woke up early. She walked to the kitchen, tied her scarf, and began cooking Chidi's favorite breakfast, fried yam and egg sauce. When Chidi entered, surprised, she smiled, really smiled for the first time in months. "Chidi, thank you," she said softly, tears in her eyes. "Thank you for staying." He frowned. "Staying?" She nodded. "For staying even when I made you feel you weren't enough." Chidi said nothing. He just looked at her for a long time, then gently pulled her into his arms. In that moment, Nneka knew she had been given a second chance. "Chidi," she began quietly later that day. "I have been so unfair to you. I saw Chioma yesterday. Emeka, he cheats on her and beats her. The same Emeka I kept comparing you to." Chidi's expression softened with sadness. "Marriage is not a competition, Noni M. You cannot measure your joy with another person's ruler." His words sank deep. "I know that now," she whispered. "I just want us to start over." That evening, Nneka deleted every post born out of comparison. Each deletion felt like peeling off a mask. Her page looked bare, but she felt free. Days turned into weeks, and slowly the atmosphere in their home changed. The silence that once felt heavy began to feel peaceful again. They laughed more. They cooked together. They sat outside in the evenings, listening to the neighborhood sounds, content in their togetherness. For the first time in a long time, Nneka realized this was joy. Not the type you capture for likes on Instagram, but raw, ordinary, sacred joy. Nneka learned that envy is a thief. It steals gratitude, peace, and love. She learned that what shines online is not always gold in reality. Real happiness begins the day you stop measuring your life against someone else's and start watering the garden you have. Because sometimes, the plain, steady clay pot in your home in Surulere holds a more nourishing meal than all the glittering, empty gold plates in Lekki. Let's be honest, though. Was Nneka really wrong for wanting more? Chidi's quiet love just sounds like lazy love. If a man isn't pushing to give you a luxurious life, is he even a real man? Isn't it a husband's duty to be his wife's provider and show off his blessings? Or what do you think? Let's know your opinion in the comment section below.